Great, thank you. So, hi everyone, happy afternoon. I'm Lauren McNeil. I'm the Director of Resolution Services, and I'm here with Amy Herman. Amy, you want to?
Hi, Amy Herman. I'm the, management analyst with Resolution Services.
And we are happy to present to the Budget Committee, Commissioners, County staff, our proposed budget for 21-22. Do you want me to say advance slide? Please advance slide.
Yeah, thanks, Lauren.
Okay, so this is, there's a lot on this slide. I will just highlight the main areas. I understand you have read the materials. The major accomplishments we highlighted over the last year included, and it's nice to follow TS with this, that we very successfully moved our staff to remote working quickly during the pandemic, and that has been a very positive experience also for our clients. There were lots of things we had to do differently, including the ability to have clients e-sign documents and that sort of thing, and has really changed our work considerably. And we've also been, like many other folks, using Zoom and various other online tools. And we count that as a major accomplishment, that we did not really lose any significant client work given the pandemic, except that which was otherwise limited, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. The Family Law Clinic has been now up and running for a little over a year, and that is a special and new offering where parties who mediate their dissolution, their family law matter with us, are able to have a staff attorney mediator complete their paperwork and file their entire case with the court. So it's one-stop shopping, and that's had a very positive response even in the middle of pandemic. We also conducted various facilitation for various listening sessions for county employees on a variety of issues, and we're glad to be able to do that also via Zoom. We have had significant growth in a collaborative project we have, which is the Mediation Services Connected with the Second Home Project. This is a project where unhoused youth who are committed to completing their high school education will live with a host family in order to do that, and we do both the negotiation of the essentially living together contract with them, and then we also provide ongoing services. So if challenges come up with, chores or whatever the issues are, then we will provide ongoing services to make that be successful. That's actually, I'll say parenthetically, the staff who do that work are, it's very rewarding work for them. And then we do a lot of training as well, and we have extended our basic conflict management classes to allow family members of Clackamas County employees also to attend, and that has been very well received too. So that's on this sheet. Please change the slide. We have been working with a self-designed client management piece of software built in Access for us by Technology Services in 2002. And we finally, this year, identified a new product which we will be using, and we have spent the last 6 months customizing it for our use, and it will launch on July 1st. It has a client portal which allows clients to interact with us directly over the web. It is also web-based, which our Access one is not easily anyway. So this will allow clients to book appointments, send messages, pay their bill, and will massively change the ease of their interaction with us, and also our needs administratively to perform those functions. We also introduced the Intercultural Development Inventory tool. This is an assessment tool which measures intercultural competency, and it's intended to be a pre and post test. So people get a measure, two numeric measures after taking the assessment, which say how well they perceive themselves to be in terms of intercultural competency, and then how people of cultures different from their own perceive that person. And then the intent is that after a 12-month period of approximately 1 hour per week of intentional activity under the plan, that will improve people's intercultural competency. And it's a well-researched tool, and our staff is undergoing an entire year of doing this work, and I have also assessed the executive management team, and we are beginning to create a 12-month plan with all of those members as well. We have increased the diversity of our volunteer pool. We're very happy about that. That was intentional and has been successful, and matters a lot to make sure that the folks that people are coming to serve them also reflect the identities of the people who are seeking services. We updated our services to the manufactured home communities. We have had a grant from the state for some years now, and there was a statutory change. They added marina communities as well, and they made mediation mandatory. So when there are conflicts that arise in these communities, there is a state grant that provides for dispute resolution, and we do that. And then, of course, we've had to train our staff and volunteers who do that work on the new rules. And then we have been working a lot with our statewide partners and the court on the anticipated flood of evictions that will be filed very recently, 5 days ago. The governor signed the extension so that so parties still have until February, the end of February 2022, to make good on their rental contracts, but we anticipate quite a lot of evictions filed, and the court is very eager to have us provide mediation in those cases as well, and so we're looking very forward to that. We are still trying various ways to figure out the right funding for that mediation. That's the question mark, but we are eager to be able to provide that as a service. And please advance. Thank you. Okay. So you will see that we have really one line of business now. We used to have two, and we collapsed them because it just made more sense. Essentially, we have work where we are helping people with a defined dispute, and then we also have services where we are more particularly helping people build skills toward being able to resolve dispute in the future, and we now call all of that one program. So these are our results, and you will see that in all areas we're achieving our target, with two notable exceptions, and I'll explain those to you, and it is somewhat explained on the slide as well. The areas with the asterisk simply reflect that we did not do any training for the first 6 months of the year, of the fiscal year, so we don't have results. However, we have done and will do some for the second half of the year, so we will have results ultimately. We just don't have them yet. And please advance. And this slide, as you know, describes the services that are mandated and what the source of funding is, and we have no federal funds. The state funds include those which support family law mediation, the manufactured dwelling park and marina now mediation, the Oregon Foreclosure Avoidance Program, which is for residential foreclosures, and the Oregon Office of Community Dispute Resolution Community Mediation Grant. Those are all state funds. And then by county code, we have the obligation for people who have filed small claims action to mediate before being able to go in front of a judge. And then also, we have an agreement with Dog Services, and it's in the code for complaints related to barking dogs and that sort of thing. And then we have intergovernmental agreements with our own DTD for code enforcement issues, with Human Resources for a variety of different workplace-related things, and with the Juvenile Department for our victim offender dialogues, which is a program where if juvenile offenders, if juveniles have offended and the adults against whom they have offended are in agreement, that we will facilitate a sit-down discussion with the parties to try to reach some kind of restitution. And please advance. So this is our revenue and expenditure picture, and you can see general fund is 42%. I can't read it from here, but that's what my slide said. And charges for services is the biggest section, and then we have a little bit of, we actually have some local revenue, but it didn't make up to 1%, so it didn't really show. We have licenses and fees, which is a small amount we get off of every marriage license, and that money is intended to fund marriage counseling. We call it relationship coaching. And we also do co-parent counseling for parents who are split but want to continue to try to work cooperatively on behalf of their children. So that's kind of the pie of revenues. Expenditures, like most departments, is chiefly personnel, and then the rest is materials and services, inclusive of allocated costs. Please advance. So this is showing the budget out over the years, and what's really notable here is that our budget is smaller than the prior year, and in fact prior several years. That is in large part due to what's shown at the bottom, which is that we have reduced our staff, and that's not only from last year, but actually out over the past several years, and even years prior that don't show on the slide. We are very much trying to right-size our personnel and make sure that we have folks who are able to perform all of the tasks that we have, and also not overly, well, we're trying to right-size our staff. So our proposed budget is now 6.8 FTE. We are very lucky that we also have a big cadre of volunteers who support our mediation services, and that, you know, it varies from 30 to 40 people at any one time, but they are volunteers who help provide a lot of the services at no additional cost. So that is a very good thing. We also have some independent contractors who provide our parent education class. And then we have, in a typical year, also interns, and they also help. So we have reduced our FTE significantly, and that is reflected in our budget. And then, you know, other notable things in terms of the big numbers there, we are predicting just less carryover than we had last year. And everything else is pretty straightforward. I think the notable things, you know, in terms of revenue is that we were able to keep almost all program services going, but they shifted in terms of volume some. So we did continue to provide the Oregon foreclosure avoidance facilitations all year long, but the pipeline was smaller, and partly because of the foreclosure moratorium. But we have been notified by the program that they anticipate, they've already got stuff in the pipeline, and they anticipate that there will be, they actually contacted us to make sure we could handle the anticipated influx. So that has been a program where the revenues have fluctuated, and we expect that to fluctuate again, up. Okay, I think that's it for this slide. And yeah, this is the slide with which you're familiar. Notably, our general fund is slightly less than last year. That's what's most notable on this slide. Next slide. And really, the main things that I would highlight your attention to are we continue to have a flat funding for over a decade from the Judicial Department for Family Law Conciliation. This funds our family law mediation. We're working very hard to change that. I can talk about that more in questions if it's of interest. There was a similar thing with the partial loss of the funds from the Oregon Office of Community Dispute Resolution. We hope for a restoration of those funds, and Amy can talk more about that if you're interested. And then I spoke already about the foreclosure changes. We have another issue which has a financial impact, which is that there are interpretation services that we are required to provide and support. But for the court-connected services of family law and parent education, the court will not pay for those, so we have to pay for the interpretation services ourselves. And we consider that to be a policy issue. And then I spoke already about the anticipated eviction mediation and the fact that we are still looking to find what is the right funding source for that work. Okay, please advance.
Thank you for a very complete and concise presentation. I appreciate that. Commissioner Fisher, you're first up.
Oh, thank you, Chair Parks. So thank you, and thank you for everything you do. It's like, wow, I thought I really knew, but there's so much on there that I didn't know. I didn't know about the second home, and it's that's pretty exciting. How wonderful. So question, with you're talking about right sizing, you have less employees now. Are you able to meet the demand for service, or do people have to wait? Or I guess what's the amount of wait time to get in for mediation? Or do you have a backlog? Do you have a wait list?
Yeah, we don't have a wait list, and I monitor that pretty closely from initial call to when people are able to get an appointment. And it's around 2 weeks, and if it gets out to 3 weeks, then we take a look at what we're doing, where we need to make adjustments. But yes, we feel that we are sized such that we can handle the demand, and then in the situations like eviction mediation or foreclosure, we have to look more carefully at those, and that's the question we got from the foreclosure program, and we looked around and realized, yep, we think we're ready.
And then another question I have, so you made the shift to Zoom or some format for mediation. Do you think you will keep that as part of your process?
Yes, thank you, Commissioner. I realized I didn't say anything about that in my presentation. Yes, in fact, we are anticipating as part of the county process to look at what effectively what square footage and what space we need, that we will be relocated to a different part of the county and will use actually much less space. We have only one family law case thus far where the parties said they really needed to mediate in person, and I'll be doing that this month. But by and large, the clients have adapted to a Zoom format. It has certain advantages, particularly in cases where there is some safety issue. And so what we anticipate moving forward is that we will offer the option for clients to mediate either in person or remotely, and which, to be fair, we've always done that. We just remotely meant by phone, and now we have Zoom. And so, so we don't yet know what the percentage will ultimately be when we begin to give clients that option, but my counterpart in Lane County, they surveyed their clients, and their clients said a third of them would prefer in-person and 2/3 would prefer remote participation. So we're just going to watch how that rolls out as we begin to ask clients what their preference is.
Thank you.
Thank you. I would just like to say that I have a very good friend who participated in your second home mediation services for youth.
Yes.
And she had a young woman that lived with her, I believe actually was right before COVID. And it was a very exceptional relationship, and the young lady did really good. I had no idea, quite frankly, that it came from County Resolution Services. So it's a great opportunity for the community and for the youth. There are so many youth that are in jeopardy right now, and that are either homeless or should be homeless and should live somewhere else. So having that opportunity and the fact that our message today is going live may, give some folks out there the opportunity to say, hey, that's something that I want to do. And tied in with that, you said you use volunteers a lot. So I'm wondering how someone would find out about what those volunteer opportunities are. This is an opportunity for you to, speak to the population out there and say, hey, this is something that we do, and this is how you go about finding out about it.
Yeah, so I just want to say a little bit about Second Home. I'm very glad to hear that, and even your words and describing your friend's experience as well is very much what our staff has also experienced in helping these really quite unique youth and very generous host families. So that's lovely to hear. We advertise in all of the ordinary kind of places for letting folks know about volunteer opportunities. Certainly our website has that information. We conduct trainings, the obligatory training, pretty regularly, so we can train and then move some people from the training into a supervised volunteer experience, and then eventually they go solo. And so we're always happy when people are willing to spread the word, and the volunteers are a unique group because they come from all different disciplines and walks of life, and what compels them to come help sit down with folks who are in conflict and try to find an amicable resolution also varies, and they're just a great group of people.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good,
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I'm glad that more people will have the opportunity to know about that. I think we probably need to get you on the Rotary schedule, to all the Rotary clubs in the county, saying, hey, you guys,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We'd be happy to do that, Chair Parks. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I don't see any other lights or cards at this point in time, so I thank you very much for your presentation today, and appreciate the knowledge now of all of the varied types of detail that your service goes into. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.